well. Hope you're slow. Hope you're wavy. Hope you're wavy. Hope you're crazy. Hope you're wavy. By the way, I made music. I'm doing a song a day challenge with the girls. The girls can drop a song a day until the end of the year. I drop 7 songs every Friday. Every Friday. 7 songs. So link in the description. Link in the description if you want to check that out. I'm trying to set something up here. What I dropped this past Friday. Okay? Really appreciate it if you check that out. Don't forget to like and comment and share and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff. It goes a long way, people. It goes a long way. I appreciate everyone who does so. Appreciate it. I was thinking about something. I was thinking about, when in sports, there's always claims of greatness, right? So in basketball and football, whether it be American football, the real football, soccer, or any of these footballs, tennis, whatever it is, right? MMA, boxing, there's always claims to be the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time. What does it mean to be the greatest of all time? How do we measure this? These are pertinent questions, if you use the example of basketball, there are 3 people that are consistently mentioned in the debate of greatest of all time. Three particular individuals. We all know who they are. Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan. How do we come to that conclusion? How do we decide who is the greatest of all time? Is it about whose personality you like? Is it about the style of play that you prefer? Is it about the way they look? What is it in particular that we look at to determine the greatest? Of all time. It's the statistics, guys. It's the statistics. We look at things like how many assists they have, 3-pointers, points overall, career championships, and that's how we came up with that short list of those 3: LeBron, Michael Jordan, and Kobe. Now, where things get a bit subjective is they all exceed in particular statistics. They all have particularly high numbers in particular statistics. I'm not exactly sure. I can't give you the rundown of the specific stats for each individual, but I know LeBron has the highest would you say, he scored the highest amount of points in NBA history for any player. The previous record was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and LeBron is overtaking him, the highest point scorer in NBA history. So that's one thing he has. But I think Jordan has the most rings. I'm not sure what Kobe has, but I'm sure he has something. Regardless, they're all very well-rounded, but they all have also their particular strengths. So I guess that's why the debate is so consistent about who amongst those three is the best. There's some people who are like LeBron is the best. There's some people who are like Jordan is the best. There's some people who are like Kobe's the best. But you can't include anyone else in that list. It's not about your personal preference. It's about statistics. This is important. The reason why it's important is because the claim of greatest of all time is an inherently competitive claim, right? It's a competition. Who's the greatest of all time? So when we're determining the winner of a contest, we have to use objective measures. We can't use again, like I said before, you can't talk about whose mindset you liked more. You can't talk about who had the most stylistic dunks. You can't talk about who conducted themselves best in practice and stuff like that. Well, at that level, when things get that granular, you might have to like start relying on those sort of things. But yeah, when we're talking about pulling from that pool of a lot of NBA players, who do we determine is the greatest amongst them? You can't. It's not subjective. I'm sorry, it's just not. You have to use objective measures. So let's extend that to rap, which is viewed by many rappers, including myself, as a sport. Because you're competing for the crowd's attention, you're competing to see who can have the biggest impact in the field, right? You're not just engaging in this for your own personal fun and preference and all this sort of thing. Like, you're actually trying to compete with people. There's a difference between a rapper who just wants to make music and have fun and do shows and go home, and they're not necessarily interested in the debate. And there's a difference between a rapper like that and a rapper who wants to be the greatest. Because then when you want to be the greatest, it means you want to compete. You can't claim to be the greatest, and then the moment someone contests you, you're like, wait, no, I'm just making music for myself and all this and all that. If you're going to claim to be the greatest, we have to use objective measures to find out if that's actually true. Is that actually true? Because I don't know why you're saying you're the greatest when so-and-so has when you go to so-and-so shows, they have a larger attendance, their songs are in heavier rotation, they've sold more albums than you, they have the highest grossing tours, so on and so forth, all these sort of things, and then you, what are you? Again, it's not about personal preference, guys. That doesn't necessarily mean. Let me give an example, right? My favorite UFC fighter is Israel Adesanya. I like Israel Adesanya. I think he's cool. I like the way he fights. I like his personality. I like a lot about him. If Israel Adesanya loses to Sean Strickland, which he did, does that mean Sean Strickland is now my favorite fighter because Sean Strickland beat him? No. Israel is still my favorite fighter, but in that moment, Sean Strickland was the better fighter. It's just a fact. He won. If he wins by points, it's because he outpunched him, he outgrappled him, he did this, he did that, he wins by points. We have to look at the statistics. It's not about, this is a great analogy, it's not about who I like more in that moment. When the judges are putting up the scorecards, we look at the stats. What do the stats tell us? That's what we use when we look at scorecards. When we're scoring fights, we look at the statistics. Who had the most punches? Who had the most accurate punches? Who was the most dominant in the fight? Who was controlling the fight? So on and so forth. Like things like that. That's what we look at, right? And then when a fight is being determined by points, that's how they come to that conclusion. So keeping that in mind, let's expand upon that a little bit. Let's zoom out. Israel Adesanya is my favorite UFC fighter. He has had incredible success. He held onto his belts for an extremely long time. But if we're talking about the greatest UFC fighter, it's John Jones. Everyone agrees it's John Jones. Everyone agrees it's John Jones. He hasn't really lost the fight. There was that one fight where he got disqualified because he used an illegal elbow, but he didn't know. So that's he lost, even though he fought that guy out. He lost on the technicality, so he didn't really lose that fight. He just got himself disqualified. But he hasn't been beaten by another opponent. He hasn't been bested in a fight by another man. And his performance has always been amazing, and he just has a stellar record. That's why he's largely regarded as the greatest UFC champion of all time. Him or Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson. But people tend to go John Jones, right? They just look at the stats. It's not about your personal preference. It's about what have they done. And the reason why, so let's go back to rap. The reason why that's important is to look at the stats, right? Because people say it's not about numbers. No. This is art, and art is not about numbers. Art is all about feeding. Yeah, when it comes to your personal taste, yes, right, it is about how you feel. But when we're talking about the competition, when we're talking about the sport of rap, now we have to look at the statistics, because if we don't, anyone can make the claim to be the greatest of all time. And who do we take seriously? I can make the claim to be the greatest of all time. And I can feel personally that I'm a better rapper than X, Y, and Z. I can be like, I'm way better than this person and this person and this person when it comes to the art of rapping. Okay, but no one knows who you are, bro. No one cares. You have to prove that you can get to the same level that they're at. Otherwise, don't make the claim. All things considered, you have to prove that you can achieve what they've achieved. If you can't, then come on, man. Because that's a competitive claim. When we look at who's largely considered like in the top 5, you've got Jay-Z, you've got Drake, you've got Eminem, you've got Lil Wayne, Biggie or Pac, I guess you can interchange them. You can put Kendrick in there, I guess. Kendrick before Drake went on tour recently. Kendrick's Mr. Morale tour was the highest grossing hip hop tour of all time. And then Drake went on tour recently and he shattered that record. He's not even done touring yet, so yeah. When he's done touring, Drake will have the highest grossing rap tour of all time. But if you look at the top 10 list of the highest grossing tours of all time, Drake has like 5 or 6 tours on that list. If we include his latest tour now. Like, honestly, guys. So in terms of tour metrics, he's the highest grossing. In terms of album sales, I think Eminem is the highest grossing, just pure album sales. I think the Marshall Mathers LP, well, I'm not sure which one it was, but the numbers that album did was insane. And that would be very hard to replicate, especially in this streaming era where you're competing against so many different people. And it's harder to achieve those sort of numbers in the streaming era. Back then, it was like CDs. You just buy the CD. You had no other option, really. The internet wasn't as big of a thing, so in order to listen to an artist, you had to buy the CD. Now, these days, so you had to buy the CD, but even if you listen to the album only once or twice, it's still counted as a sale. These days, with streaming, you can listen to an album 10 times, and that might not necessarily count as a sale. I don't know how many times you have to stream an album for it to be officially recognized on a streaming platform as a sale, but it's some ridiculous number. You have to stream that album like a lot of times a song in particular, you have to stream it a lot of times for it to be counted as a sale of a song, and same thing with albums. So it's harder to crack like a million first week these days because of that change in dynamics. People don't buy albums as much anymore, like physical albums, or even digitally. Like people aren't very, people don't buy albums as much. Drake has a traditional audience, like there's a large amount of his audience that still buys physical CDs. That separates him from a lot of people. People like Drake, people like Kendrick, people like J. Cole, a large percentage of the audience still buy. They buy digitally, they buy physically, they buy vinyl, stuff like that. But that's not the norm in this day and age. Most people just stream, including myself. I don't really buy albums. I just stream them. So it is difficult. But anyway, with that top 5 I mentioned, so it was Jay-Z, it was Eminem, it was Drake, it was Lil Wayne. You can throw in Kendrick in there if you want. Because I think Kendrick has surpassed like a Biggie and a Pac, and just statistically speaking, I think that's fair to say. I don't know if he surpassed Kanye. I think he has. I'm looking at his tour metrics, right? I'm looking at tour album sales. I don't know if he beats Kanye in album sales overall. Yeah, I don't know if I can put him above Kanye if you just look at overall career. Because the tour sales by itself is not enough, right? You have to look at it overall, at the overall picture. I'll put him there for argument's sake. I'll put Kendrick there for argument's sake. How do we get to that list, guys? Because we can all admit all of these guys are great rappers. But how do we come up with that list? Is it personal preference? No, it's not personal preference. They're all extremely huge rappers, extremely huge. A lot of hits. And people know who they are. They've just had statistical success that we can track, that we can measure. I'm not throwing Freddie Gibbs in there. I'm not throwing Coat to the Friend. I'm not throwing, Joey Badass in that list, because even if you personally like those rappers, you think they're cool, you think they're sick, even if you personally think these rappers are sick, it's not about that. Because we can all have our own personal taste. I'll give another example. When we talk about beauty, there actually is an objective metric to measure beauty, and it's symmetry. In terms of, generally speaking, what attracts human beings to other human beings, it's things like symmetry. What makes a face pretty. So, in this modern age, there's this notion that anyone and everyone can be beautiful, and the beauty standards that have been established over the years are problematic, and this and that and that and that. No, it's biology, guys. There's a reason why men, biologically speaking, are attracted to women with curves and stuff like that, because they're indicators of higher efficiency in giving birth and stuff like that. And there's biological reasons why men are attracted to certain things. And yeah, human beings are attracted to symmetry, generally speaking. Just in the world, we like symmetry, we like order. That's how our minds are set up. So if you were to ask me who's prettier between like Sydney Sweeney and Billie Eilish, I think they're both conventionally pretty women. I think they're both just pretty. I think most people will agree, like, they're both just pretty. But like, if you ask me like who I prefer, I think Billie Eilish is more shapely. I like her face more and stuff like that. I'll probably go with her. She's thick. Just in terms of who's pretty, who I think is prettier. That's just me though. That's just preference. But at that level, they're both pretty. now I'm drawing on like my own personal tastes to determine who I like between two pretty people. But we had to use objective measures to get to that point of between these two, because we're not going to pretend like in a sea of women that these two aren't standing out. Like of course they are. Sydney might stand out more. I'm not sure. I think she's more conventionally pretty than Billie Eilish. Yeah, but like to pretend as if you had a room full of women, that women like that wouldn't stand out. Like you're just delusional. You're lying. You're lying. So it's clear that there are objective measures for beauty. There's a reason why the word ugly exists, because it describes people. They're ugly people. That's not mean. That's just the truth. And luckily, human beings aren't just their looks. You can be ugly and still be very valuable to society and still find love and still be cherished and loved by other people. But let's not pretend like everyone is just attractive physically speaking. It's not true. It's not true. That's not me, it's just the truth. And people who, are thinking properly and have their head on straight and aren't taking this too seriously, they don't get offended by that. Because they're not trying to be the most beautiful person. They're content with their lot in life. Their families who love them. They got friends. They got this. They got that. They don't need to be the prettiest person. Everyone has their own thing going for them. You don't need to be the prettiest person in the room all the time. Yada, 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 yada. It's not that deep. But that doesn't mean we must get rid of the standard, because a few people want to be included in everything. A few people want to be seen in every realm. It's like, no. That's not how this works. Some people are prettier than other people. That's just reality. So again, that's an example of an objective measure in with regards to something to determine what constitutes the best in the aesthetic realm. So yeah, when it comes to hip-hop has always been very competitive, and it's always been a matter of call and response, and it's always been a matter of who can roll bigger strides, who can get the craziest reactions, who can be talked about the most in the streets, so on and so forth, these sort of things. I remember I was at a Russ show last year. Russ was in Johannesburg, he was performing, and he was late. He was late for his set, and his DJ had to play songs to keep the crowd warm. And guess which artist the DJ kind of leaned on to keep the crowd fired up while we waited for us? It was Drake. He played a series of Drake songs, a lot of Drake songs, enough for people to notice that this is a lot of Drake songs. It was a lot of Drake songs, right? And that's because, look, when you're a DJ, you understand something fundamental. Give the people what they want. You're not going to play something. It's not, as a DJ, this is a great measure, actually, of seeing who's really hot and who isn't. Go to parties and see who's being played in these parties, in these clubs, and so on and so forth. That will tell you who's hot and who's not. And that's also always been a measure that rappers have always used. I'm hot in the club, you're not, shut up, That's always been a thing. Because there's a fundamental truth to that. The person people are listening to, that's who they really like. Don't listen to what people say. Listen to what they do. Observe what they do. That'll tell you everything. Someone can say one thing and do the exact opposite. It's nonsense. So, this DJ, he understands something fundamental. If I play a bunch of Drake songs, which are hot, these are hits, the crowd will go insane. And that's exactly what happened. No one complained. No one was like, this is too many Drake songs, stop. He was playing the song of Block Boy JB, Look Alive. I don't think he played Sicko Mode. I can't remember what this was last year, guys. I can't remember what the songs he played were exactly. It was a bunch of songs, but it was like hits. I think he played Non-Stop. He played a bunch of songs and everyone was going crazy. We're having fun. People were turning up. Because people knew the songs, they knew the lyrics. He can't do that with Kendrick. If he tries to play a series of Kendrick songs, he might be successful with 3-4 songs in a row because Kendrick does have hard songs. But after a while, people are like, okay, stop. Like, there's very few artists you can do that with. You can't do that with everyone. Drake is different because he has, like, when I say he has hits, guys, I mean like #1 records, but like a lot. I think he beat Michael Jackson for the most #1 records in history or something like that. I can't remember what record it was or something like that. So it's like, it's not just hits, it's like the biggest hits of the biggest hits. So these are songs that everyone knows. Because you have to consider, right? You're at a Rush show. So it's like you can't just play anyone because Russ has a particular audience and all sorts of things like that and whatever the case may be. So which artists can you play that kind of overlap with his audience and you know that people are going to enjoy it? This is a rap audience after all, so most rap songs are going to appeal to them anyway. But when you're talking about, I want to spam an artist, I'm not going to play a mix. I'm going to have one artist who is the central theme of my set, and I'm just going to play his songs and I'll interject other songs. But this is the guy I'm going to play the most. You can't do that with anyone. Because then people will be like, I don't know. You're going to get me started. Like, show me something else. But these are things you have to consider as a DJ, right? You have to observe the crowd and how they're reacting to things. You have to like predict they're going to turn up to this, they're not going to turn up to this. And it's a gamble a lot of the time because sometimes the songs you thought people are going to react strongly to, they end up not reacting strongly to and whatnot. Sometimes you play lesser known songs as a gamble. But generally speaking, you know that the hits are going to work. And that's exactly what we saw. It was a nice little case study. People went insane. He played one Drake song after the next. That tells you everything you need to know right there about who's hot. Every DJ knows that. When in doubt, play a Drake song. Every hip hop DJ knows that. If you're with a rap audience, just play a Drake song. You'll be fine. At least, okay, it's not going to always save you in every single circumstance. You still have to be good as a DJ. You still have to know what you're doing. But if you're finding yourself in a rut, you don't know what to do, just play a Drake song. It'll be fine. Play sicko mode. Play a first-person shooter. Play whatever the case may be. Play Started from the Bottom. Play Worst Behavior. Play Know Yourself. Play Energy. Play Mob Ties. Like, oh my god, guys, the list is endless, non-stop. Yeah. Kendrick is not on the same level, just in terms of that level of hits. I'm sorry, he's not. I don't think you can put him on the level of an Eminem or a Jay-Z or a Drake. You just can't. He's not on that level. I don't think anyone's on Drake's level at this point. I mean, maybe Eminem. Eminem has had a crazy run as well. But if we're talking about top 3, I can accept Eminem, Drake, and Jay-Z. I'm not accepting anyone else. It just doesn't make sense at this point. It just doesn't make sense. But hey, that's just my opinion, I guess. This is an eternal argument that people have been having. No one can ever seem to agree, which is crazy because we have the objective measures. It's not hard. If Drake wasn't ranking #1 in terms of stats, I wouldn't be saying this. I'll be saying whoever is ranking #1 is #1. He is. So I'm just saying that. Just being objective. Let me know what you think in the comments, of course. I don't want to know your personal taste. I just want to know what you think about the argument. Yeah. You know, I have to pray at the end of my videos just to impart peace and blessing all that stuff. So, dear God, thank you for this individual watching this song. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and guiding them on a path towards peace, prosperity, purpose.
Thank you for blessing this individual with wonderful people in their life who love them, take care of them, bring the absolute best out of them. Thank you for maintaining the people that are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in life. And by giving thanks, they can find peace and contentment and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life, though, so they know that you're God, that you're real, that you're loving them, and that you're always going to be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness over this individual and everyone they care about. In your mind, I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.